5, 4.
When you go to,
That's why I do that.
what is that?
Because I'm I'm on this side of the camera, so I can't go like
I feel
that.
like you're calling a baseball
I'm
pitch.
Because I was pointing at you on the camera like this, like.
That like you're about to pick my nose. I won't use the footage of you just popping a butt right before we get on here.
Good.
Okay, so now that Justin.
No, you gotta say, "Hey friends."
Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. Not very nice.
I'm just kidding.
If you want to ring it now, or if you want to ring it later,
or subscribe now, or hit like now, or hit like at the end if you don't like the video.
Yeah, either is fine. We are here for equal opportunity bell ringers, okay? But where we're actually here is not talk about the bill. We are answering the questions we failed to answer because we didn't see when we did this live a couple weeks ago.
Oh, we're doing, yeah. I was about to ask, do we need to pull it up on there, but we're not doing that.
We're
one
not
live.
doing No, and it's like midnight, so and this is both of our first drinks of the night, so it's more of a lack of sleep issue right now. Zadie's asleep, which of course helps the craziness. So these questions were still asked of us either in the live last week or on Instagram and TikTok following up. So I think we'll cover these, and I went with the big ones because I feel like they're going to answer some of the other questions, because I realize that you and I don't give like one sentence answers. And it's because I'm talkative and you're just thorough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Sure, yeah. I want to ensure that they understand what we're trying to get across.
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel like that's the definition of thorough.
Yeah, and you explain things completely different than I explain things,
Mm-hmm.
because we understand things completely different than each other.
Yes.
So I'm here for people like me explaining, and you're here for people like you explaining.
Which the funny thing is a lot of times in our friend relationships, I relate to all of Justin's buddies more, and Justin relates to all the wives more in line of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
which is very funny, but it's very true. But I think that's probably why you're so good at your job, because you think so much differently than a lot of guys you work around.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about that?
Not really.
Me either. Not as far as like applicable to work.
I have a different. If the tripod's moving this time, it's not
Zadie,
it's the
Spock.
cats. He's rubbing up on it.
We do have Zadie's monitor over here too, so if you see
If
us
I
stare
jump-
off into space or just make a dash and you hear a sound, it's probably just him falling over
the baby gate,
the baby
or
gate.
the light, or running up the stairs.
There's a lot of options for commotion. So we'll get to the questions, and I wanted there's not a good like starter question. So I thought maybe we could ask each other a starter question.
Starter question: how are you doing tonight?
How am I doing tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to get deep? Like, is this like how am I doing?
Sure.
Or is this like how are you
to
doing? Like I feel really good right now.
However deep you want to get with it.
Is this therapy, Justin? Justin can turn into therapy, Justin, very quickly. We're each other's best therapists and worst nightmares
we
at the
are.
same time.
We are definitely each other's therapists.
But in all honesty, it's been a hard week. And not just because it's been the election week, which has been a lot, but because, as you know, I've been very stressed with work
Mm-hmm.
and getting caught up and just feeling like I can't get caught up and there's like no caught up in sight.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out how to do work, life balance with Zadie and everything. And it's just kind of culminated with the stress of the election. Especially when I feel like part of my work is my ministry, like my life's calling is my ministry. And what I've been called to is a timely thing, like speaking on things that have to do with the election. So it's not something that I could just put off these conversations to have
Just wait
next
until
week.
wait till other things
Are
are
less
not
stressful.
Yeah.
And so that's been really hard. It's just been heavy. And I just feel like I've been spiritually and emotionally running high all week, especially when I'm saying things that I know that a lot of people I love and care about don't agree with and are very vocal that don't agree with it. And so it just hurts. And so it's just been hard. But you've been great and very helpful and supportive, so I appreciate that.
Thanks, I try.
What are you doing?
The monitor. Yeah. I just want to make sure. She did it. I'm glad. I'm glad I could be as supportive as I can. And
yeah.
Sorry, it's been a rough week. I think you're not the only one that's had a rough week.
No,
So,
that's
yeah.
just like I feel like that's kind of everybody is feeling the weight of this week.
The weight of
in
this week,
a different way.
plus their normal stress. Like,
right.
Yeah.
And because we're in the middle of the last quarter of the year, going into the holidays, like it's just a hard time for everybody. And then we've got pandemic, and I mean, there's so many layers.
Why don't we have election like in the summer, where everybody's kind of like laid back?
That would like make sense to like have it some other time than the fourth quarter of the year.
Yeah.
But they don't ask normal people.
First year, like February, March.
Yeah, like nobody's doing anything really important in February,
My
other than your birthday
and your mama's birthday,
and my daddy's, and Valentine's. But as far as like, there's no like monumental events, and it's just a different energy. But I digress. But doing good as can be. I felt really good today.
You were a little more productive. I took Zeddy in with me.
Yeah, you had the day off work, but really you still had to go to work. You were just able to take Zeddy.
Yeah.
So yeah, just in a different headspace here at the end of the week. I think a lot of it too is because I've got so much off my chest, and because you know that when I feel like God is pressing something on me, it makes me physically ill. Like I just feel nauseous and I get ill because I know I've got to let it out, but I don't want to because I know people are going to get upset. I know people are going to DM me really mean things, and I know people are just going to walk away and be like, "You're an idiot, bye." And like, who wants to subject themselves to that?
Yep.
And then so anytime like my mom or anyone's like, "Well, Kendall, you posted, you know that would happen." I'm like, "Yes, I recognize that, but." If it were something silly or wasn't related to what I feel like God is telling me to do, yeah, okay. Like if I made some comment that wasn't related, then it wouldn't matter.
Or you could run from it and then get eaten by a whale like Jonah. That's the other option. Those are like the two options you have. You either say it on Facebook and during your ministry, or you could get eaten by a whale.
Yeah, or that could have been a shark also. And then I do not want to be on next year's season of Shark Week. Like that is not the plot twist to 2020 that any of us need.
Jonah survived though.
Yeah, but it was messy, and I don't do good around vomit. So, yeah, I have to do it. There's a lot of things I don't say that are also my opinion that I think people get surprised by, that I hold back some stuff because I do say so much. Because I know what chaos it would create. But that's also why this week is Blessed Release Week for all my Facebook friends. Just because I've got to be more careful about my energy, because I don't want to be spent out on people that don't matter.
You're talking to a 5 and 5 wing 6. I know everything about energy. You wake up every day at 100. I wake up every day at like 50, 75, and I've got to spend that energy very wisely.
Justin hates that I want to be productive every day of the week. And so like I always wake up in the morning, I'm ready to like kick a door down and like do something crazy, like productivity wise. And Justin's like, nah, like let's just like chill.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. We can chill after we've done things.
Yeah, but there's no after with you.
Yeah.
There's no after we've done things with you. There's always things.
Okay, and that's my therapy session.
Okay.
Because we all know my Enneagram 3 issues and productivity. How are you doing?
Good.
You had kind of a roller coaster of a week too.
Yeah.
Ups and downs.
Yeah, ups and downs. And
not maybe quite so drastic ups and downs. Yeah. But yours are just kind of more twists and turns and probably ups and downs. Like didn't see that coming.
Yeah, and then just the back and forth of being gone and then being in the office and gone from the office and in the office is just it feels like I'm playing catch up.
Constantly.
For the last really month and a half, because I've been gone. I was gone for a whole month.
Yeah.
Then I was back we went on leave
For
a week, and then I was back for a week. Then I went down to Georgia for a week, and then I've been back this
He's
week.
never home.
Yeah, and this is a short week for me.
Yeah.
So it's been very, like I said, twists and turns, and then
you can start to understand like my need for just like wanting to be like locked in my office for 24 hours.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then my account got logged out at work.
It just adds like a layer of stress to everything, complicatedness.
Because like, luckily, my right-hand officer, my executive officer, had to be in the office today because he has to work a 24-hour shift today, or I would have had to call him in just to get on my computer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because I had to go in for.
It's kind of a little God wink though that you
Yeah.
didn't, because your thing too is you don't like we both have the issue. We don't like to burden other people or add pressure to anybody else. So if you had to call him into work on his day off, like people can screw up your schedule, but you don't want to screw up anybody else's schedule. It would have tore you up.
I tried to break in First Sergeant's office and Second Platoon's office today, just so I didn't have to call them in. But thankfully for past Justin,
I would rather break and enter than inconvenience.
And break and entering, it's all in my office. It's just their personal office is locked. And
it's like your mom getting into your room when you're not
First
home.
Sergeant, I told him I was trying to break in his office. He knew I was trying to break in his office.
Just so we know that you are the most morally conscious person on this planet.
But I just didn't want somebody to see this and be like, "Oh my God, he's trying to break in somebody's office." But with their permission, I was trying to break in their office and get some paperwork that I needed. But luckily, past Justin thought he had not done it. I scanned in some documents, sent them to my email. They never showed up, so I thought it didn't work. And then, lo and behold, it just took a long time to get to my email.
Okay,
so
you don't
I had
have to
them
explain all the answers. How are you doing? This is our question because he doesn't acknowledge feelings. Not what did you do, but how are you doing?
Oh, I'm great. Feelings are illogical, so.
Oh gosh, we went into that last time.
Yeah, we did. No,
Justin's still looking at therapists on that front.
I'm good. Helping getting one of the soldiers that had an accident, getting him straight, and that's been a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, because what's getting you you want to help. We're very people, like as far as wanting to help and do right by people. We're worried about everybody else. A lot of times to our detriment.
Yeah.
And even we talk about our relationships sometimes.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like for the last month and a half, I have felt like I've done nothing but be around people, and I'm not a natural people person. So I just I feel like I need to go for a sabbatical in the woods and just.
You've literally been sabbaticaling in the woods off and on for the last year.
No. That's been with other people. I'm talking about go by myself in a dark room and listen to my heavy metal.
I can count on one hand how many times I've peed alone.
I know, and that's I feel selfish for even saying that, but
I get I totally get it.
Yeah, and that's why I haven't been okay, babe, I'm leaving for the day, tomorrow, just all right, bye, because I know you're in the same boat,
yeah.
No,
and that's why today. Season we're in.
Yeah, and that's why today I was just okay, yeah, I'll take Zadie, because I know you needed some very productive time, and I could get that little memo I had to write up and send off handled with her. So
yeah, I appreciate it. It was very nice to get to shower and shave my legs and wash my hair all in the same shower today. So thank you for making that happen.
You're welcome. I even used the bathroom and took her with me. I didn't even ask would you watch her. I just took her up there with me.
That probably sounds like nothing to you, but Justin freaks out if I pee with even the door open. So the idea that he would take Zadie to our bedroom, which is connected to the bathroom, which still has a poop closet. That's
poop closet. I can't believe you said poop closet on here.
It's not a bad word.
It's not, but it's a weird thing.
What would you call it? A commode room?
No, I would just say
a toilet closet.
I would just say. I don't know what I would say, but a poop closet is not what I would say.
I don't know what the technical term for it. It's the tiny room that just shuts off for the toilet. There's no sink in there, so it's not the bathroom.
Yeah, it's a
I'm just saying there's 2 barriers of entry. So,
And I
like,
think-
for him to take her just into, like, past one of those barriers, for him to be like, this
It's
is
weird.
very
It's
big
very.
deal for him.
For me, it's weird.
We
when-
have never in front of each other, ever.
No, and like just her peeing with the door open is weird to me. I don't like it. It's like an
And I've
invasion
always
of,
peed with the door open because our family just, I don't know, it's just been very open door
But
policy.
then I'll like when I'm out in the woods with 20 other dudes, we'll hold hands while we poop together in a hole or something weird. I'm being a little facetious there,
Oh.
but like it.
But I mean, men going to a public restaurant and you'll pee beside a stranger.
Yeah.
But you,
But
like,
it's weird. It's just weird.
Oh my
I don't like it. I don't make eye contact with them or anything. Or
why would you make eye contact with me when
I don't know.
Okay,
It's weird.
let's get to the
All right, we've got an intro question. We have both asked how are each other doing.
That was way more than
That'll probably be edited down a little bit.
we should have been like. What was your favorite thing to eat this week, or something that would have been much simpler? But you would have needed to explain everything. We're not answering that question. All right.
What was your favorite thing to eat this week?
I don't even probably some
I don't even
dessert.
remember what we ate this
The
week.
chocolate lava cake I ordered at 10 o'clock.
Those breadsticks. You got breadsticks and lava cake from Applebee's at 2:30.
That Zadie carried around for 45 minutes. Okay. So I did mention that these are all pretty
deep questions.
because they're like
Quickly.
the
All right, so we gotta get serious quick.
second part. Well, it's not going to take a lot of trying. It's just going to go there.
All right.
So since you just spoke about the Army, I'll ask this. This was
Okay.
directed to me, but I'd like to hear kind of how you process it from your side too. You know, when you move it around, it makes noise.
Sorry.
Justin might also be ADHD. He's just never been diagnosed. So this was from Kristen that is in my Bible study
Mm-hmm.
that was on the live that we missed last time.
I'm not kidding.
And she said, as an Army wife, how do you process the feeling that work always comes first? So, and I would preface this with her husband's a first sergeant. So, like,
Yeah, she gets it. Yeah, she gets it. And it's a very, to
this
me.
is an opinion about my opinion.
Okay, go ahead. Good.
Were you going to tell my opinion?
No, I wasn't. Go ahead. I was just going to tell you how I felt about it, but go ahead. I'll allow you to go first.
Thank you. I do think you should answer it, but I mean, I should at least answer it first and so let's try
All right,
to.
go
I
ahead.
mean, clearly, I mean, it sucks because I get no real say in our calendar, first of all, or the priority of our calendar. And so, especially early on in our marriage, we got into a lot of arguments, not just about like feeling like I came second to the Army, but I felt like somehow, even though it would be the Army's fault, I felt guilty for like why you couldn't go home for things. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't want to, or just like whatever it is. Like it, like I feel like I'm the go-between between Army life, which is a different world, and like our family's back home, and so I get caught in the middle of it, and I just feel like somehow it's like my fault, which is not. But so like that is hard because especially early on when we first got married and we didn't have a baby, and I traveled back and home for so much, I really kind of lived in both worlds at the same time. So like I could get it all over here, while also seeing like what happens with your schedule and why things are the way they are. But you know, the more that I've been on this side of things and back home, you know, it's just kind of makes me feel pulled between the two. But I mean, it goes down to like the conversation we had last time about communication and how like I kind of had to check you and be like, I get it, especially the way that you are a leader, because you are so like take care of them and they'll take care of me mentality. Like as far as if you lead them well and take care of them, then they're going to handle the mission, and the mission will make sure that you've done good, whatever. But when you are home, we're like in that time where you were out of the mission part of it, but you weren't home yet. Your brain hadn't switched back to like, oh crap, like now I'm not just making decisions for myself or my soldiers. I've also got to factor the family in.
And I've always had a problem with like the switching in between like soldiering and family.
Yes, and this is a common thing because I've talked to girlfriends about this, and y'all know I am outspoken, and I'm not going to just let you talk to me in any certain way. And
not that I've yelled at you or like.
No, but
like,
you would just, your shortness, and early on in our marriage, like when we first got married, especially after you weren't used to having a roommate or anything, and you would come from work and you weren't like ordering me around, but you would talk to me like with the expectation that you would have to your soldiers, like just handle it, like just do this because I said so, kind of thing. And I was like, sir, like, one, I'm not your soldier, and two, like just because you said something doesn't mean like I'm gonna jump up and ask you how high. Like that's not me. Like that's not who you married. And so you had to learn to turn the switch off. And so a lot of it is just communicating. And I mean, my feelings are going to get hurt for the next however long you're in this career when you're gone for birthdays or when he can't come home early on a day that's important to us, or because I've got a concert ticket, because
or I have to go in
or whatever,
or while we're on vacation have to answer 500 million phone calls
all day long on the beach or wherever.
Text.
And then so I know other wives feel this way too, that I feel like I'm the buffer between how much his work can suck the life not only out of him but just make our life harder or inconvenient and Zadie now, so I always like want him to look like a good guy and it's not his fault, and those kinds of things. I don't want her to end up resenting him any more than you would naturally if your parent has to go away for work, more than you would want them to, but that also is and can be very tiring. So it's a communication thing where for me a lot of times I don't need him to do anything differently. I just need you to acknowledge the work or the effort that I'm having to put in or the sacrifice that I'm making. So I'm not like, I wouldn't tell him to do his job any different. The reason that I love him and that I've always been attracted to you, the way that you do things, is because you are so based in integrity and doing the right thing and taking care of other people. But I just need him to acknowledge how that affects me, whether that's in being inconvenienced or having to sacrifice or just put up with of it all.
The cats are playing.
Just to acknowledge it, and you've certainly gotten better about that, and it's one of those things that ebbs and flows, whether he'll bring home unexpectedly flowers one day when he knows it's been a rough week, or he'll take Zadie on today and he didn't have to. So it sucks. I wish I had a cure-all, but that's just the reality of our life. And
one day when she's a millionaire or I'm finally retired in the Army, this won't be a problem.
Yeah.
So, like, subscribe, and ring that bell.
Yeah. So the Army does have to come first. But it just is one of the things that it is what it is. So it's just one of those factors, and because that's something that I wouldn't say I knew what all it would entail going into when we got married, because there's no way I could have known the depths of the show that it could be sometimes, and the inconvenience, or like the how screwed up the timeline could be, or just how much it would leave me feeling that way. But it definitely is something that I have to consider, that this not only is your job, but being a military spouse and a military family is a lifestyle. And so I can't compare how our life looks to our friends that are civilians, where like my friends' husbands who are home by 5, and they're
the
able
grass
to like,
is green, always greener on the other side.
Yes.
And I have the hardest time about that, because I'm like, oh, look at so and so
getting to do X, Y, or Z, and I was like, Justin, you get 30 days off a year.
Yeah.
My parents never have taken 6 days
Yeah.
off in a row.
Yeah.
So there's definitely give and take of it, but you can't compare your relationship or your marriage, especially to a friend or a sibling whose husband or spouse is not in the military. Because the truth is we'll never be able to probably be in like a Bible study group together that we weekly go to same time. And that was one of the reasons we couldn't do foster care is because we had to guarantee that we could each be at a class every Tuesday for 10 weeks in a row. And I was like, right, he ain't done anything 10 weeks in a row with me in the same state ever. Like, just because your career doesn't fit for it. So don't compare is a way that I mitigate my expectation. I have good girlfriends here that I can vent to. And just when I need to make that joke about how much it sucks or, you know, like how frustrating it is, like at what point do we get to make a call? Or like, wouldn't it be nice to just get to stay at work all day
and then one of them makes another joke that their husband is X, Y, or Z more than I am. Because like we have friends, you know, in all different levels, and some of them that's got, you know, 3 children under 3 that have been, you know, gone for almost 2 years of that 3 years. You know,
yeah, but a good friend will let you complain whether their spouse has been gone for 3 years and you've just been gone for 3 days.
Yes,
so they also do not. Good friends validate that whether they've been gone 3 days or 30 days or 3 years, it can all suck. So find your right people too is a big part.
I'm just saying, like, it is not. You're not alone feeling that the Army comes first.
No,
we feel your pain, and then we
and
know.
you even feel good at that because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to add is that what I do is I try to control what I can control, and I can't control my schedule always. So like the big training events and big things on the calendar when I'm gone, I can't control it. It's dictated to me. So if it is over a birthday or a holiday or something like that, it kind of is what it is. Like I got to do it, but it's afforded us the opportunity to let Kendall, you know, develop her ministry and her business, and
it's also why you're very passionate about giving me good gifts. And I'm a terrible gift receiver, but I've had to learn to be good at getting gifts because I don't like to get gifts. But I think for you, it's a way to feel like not that you've made up for, but like this is literally a token of like
appreciation
and like that you think I'm worth the work.
Yeah.
And the hassle.
But yeah, it's afforded us my career has afforded us the opportunity to be able to adopt, for Kendall to build a business, build a ministry, to provide us with a great life so far, and I enjoy it. I enjoy my work. I enjoy what I do in the Army. That's why I haven't tried to go and do anything different. I love being a field artillery officer. I love being commander. So I try to control what I can control. So to me, I try to let people handle what they can handle. So I have 100 soldiers, right under 100 soldiers. And so I try to delegate where I can.
You're not a micromanager.
Yeah, and let them handle it so I don't have to, and then step in where I'm needed. So that's my biggest thing to try to.
So you're not wasting time too. Justin's big on efficiency, so he's not just BSing around the battery, his work office, you know, that's causing him to not be able to be home, you know, at a decent time. And I know for other families, and this is something, I don't know how close y'all live to post, you know, that they do, especially if their husbands are in a train up to leave or just getting back. But like the husband will come home every morning for breakfast, you know, between PT and work, if he knows he's at a time in a season that he's going to work late for a few weeks, or come home for lunch. And you've certainly not had the opportunity to try to figure that kind of thing out so much, because he has, since he took this new job, he's not been home but like 3 weeks altogether.
Yeah.
And so, but you always talk about with having soldiers and being a leader, you have to lead in a way that you would want them to replicate. And so if the Army wants to say families are important, Justin, of course, would have to model that they're important and not keep the soldiers there till 6 p.m. every single night.
Yeah, and
that kind of thing.
I have brought Zadie to the office more than once during the workday.
Or if I have a meeting that I have to go to and I don't have anyone to watch Zadie, aka Bridget, then I do. He will let me drop her by work.
As long as I don't have a meeting or I don't have,
Anything
I'm going
crazy.
to the field, crazy. And I told like all the leaders, my leaders and the soldiers, like if they need to bring their children in or anything like that, they can. As long as it's not going to affect, the duty day. If we're cleaning weapons and the kid's over there on the phone, like, okay, like it is what it is.
It sounds so crazy to us. If we
Yeah, fair enough.
So back to the question before Justin gets to it and the nitty gritty. It doesn't make any sense because that sounds dangerous.
It does.
Weapons with children around.
It does.
But it is not what it sounds like, and we're just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But the big thing is communication between the two of you. And I'm not a big feelings person either. This is why we talked about before. I do better texting things, but I will tell him like it hurts my feelings, or I feel like you care more about what's going on with your soldier's life than what's going on in my life. And I know that that's not true, but he needs to hear me say it to say for it to trigger in him like, oh crap, like you're right. I didn't even acknowledge, what's going on in your space today.
I quickly switched to a logical brain, and my thought process is handle the most urgent situation immediately, and then everything else I can handle afterwards.
It's part of the issue too, I think, with being together so long. Like he knows I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I know
unless things are, terribly crazy, and he knows me well enough to know that if there is a situation, an incident with a soldier, especially if it's a health matter or personal that's urgent, that I would tell him handle that because I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's just the fact that I'm checking on her, or
just check in.
Yeah.
Just acknowledge.
Yeah.
Just let me know. Like if you're running late, that's fine. Just tell me you're running late. Like if you're gonna be home late, that's fine. Just tell me. But then also don't have the expectation that dinner's still gonna be cold or whatever. Like you have to meet there together.
Yeah. There's always some give and take, especially when both of us have careers and our own schedules and things like that.
And they're still both trying to figure out parenting.
Both trying to figure out parenting. I'm trying to figure out my new job.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So this one is related to Army life too. So we'll just go on that tangent. When you retire, Lord knows I'll never retire of any kind. Do we plan to move back to North Carolina, JoCo? Yes or no? And then if not, why?
My answer is going to be completely different than her answer.
What's your answer, Joe?
Mine would be no. I do not want to. One, I don't want to go back to JoCo. I want to go back to North Carolina. Not because I hate it or like I don't want to move back there because I'm better than that or anything. But I really enjoyed like Washington State. I enjoyed the weather. It was gloomy. It was rainy. It was cold.
Let me tell you the real reason Justin doesn't want to move back to Johnson County. There's not enough food options.
Yes.
Yeah. And Justin cannot get his plethora of food that he likes to eat, which it doesn't look like it, but this man takes in a lot of food and a lot of variety of food. And he needs to be able to get it within 15, 20 minutes.
Like there's no Indian restaurants like curry restaurants anywhere.
I'm sure he can get in touch with Raj's mama. Yeah. And they'll have you over for dinner. I'm sure they love it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We can't get pad thai anywhere in Johnson County.
We have, since moving away from home, from North Carolina, and being in more populated, especially areas that are so populated and close to metropolitan areas, you do get very used to
everything
the
being very
convenience
quick, very quick
of
access.
Living. We live 4 miles from a Target and a mall. And it was the same way when we were in Washington. We could walk to anything we wanted to eat.
I think my retirement is going to be like extremes. I'm either going to be in a pretty populated area, or I'm going to be a hermit and like have a log cabin and like.
And we know that we want to be on the water of some sort, whether that is like a lake somewhere. Justin prefers.
And I think that I was about to say I think it's going to have to be a compromise because she wants the ocean.
Yeah.
I want a river or a lake or something like fresh water.
Yeah. So if we were to move home to North Carolina, I think the highest likelihood would be somewhere outside of Wilmington.
Yeah.
So like close enough that we could get into downtown to Wilmington, to go eat or shop or do whatever, but maybe not so close enough that you're in the traffic or, you know, have to deal with the tourist season. Yeah. But that might be the closest we would be to get to home.
My only problem with North Carolina now, and being in Tennessee, same thing, is it's too hot. I want a cooler climate.
Yeah.
Kendall's the exact opposite. She loves the hot.
Or the heat
she
just
loves the sun.
is not a factor. Like,
yeah.
To me, if it's going to be real hot in the summer, that means that's the longer into like the fall or the winter I can go to the pool. Like,
yeah.
That's my life.
Yeah, and so I'm the exact. I want to sit like by a fire all year round, like in my flannel.
See, no, my thing is I just never need it to be really cold. So we go right from like hot into like bonfire weather back into hot, and like I'm good. Like, I never need it to be like snowy.
Yeah, and I want the like,
we'll vacate. We can go somewhere for snow.
Yeah, I want it to be like, okay, it's nice for maybe a month in the summer, then it gets cool, then it gets real cold, and then it gets cool, then it gets nice for a little bit. That's my idea.
He has no expectations. Your list is very short of what you would like.
Yeah. Like Scotland. Like Scotland weather, perfect.
You've never been to Scotland.
Yeah, but I know the weather there.
Oh. Based on what, Braveheart?
No, okay, the Pacific Northwest.
I know that was
like
good.
Yeah, like a rainforest.
Justin loved the West Coast, Northwest.
I did. Like the Pacific Northwest is like they got good food, good beer, good weather. Like my good weather. Everybody wouldn't say it's good weather.
And I'm just so glad that you're saying this because I feel like people think that, which will lead into some of these questions, that all of our progressiveness or like the change of who we are today is my fault. No. Back to like me being the liaison between the army world is just because I'm with
no, everybody gives me a hard time at work because I'm like the most bougie like person ever, and it's all my own fault. Like I drink my pumpkin spice latte.
I let him be a bachelor, living on his own too much. To include, like, still, you spent a lot of time by yourself while I traveled back and forth, like for work and stuff. Yep. So you just got very content liking what you like.
Yeah, and I like nice beers. I like nice coffee. I like a lot of different food options. Like I'm okay with it. If another man wants to come drink a pumpkin spice latte and wear Uggs with me,
there's a spot on our couch.
Yep, we can.
Just for you. Yeah. So I don't know. I do think where we retire, hopefully, which at that point, maybe we will become bajillionaires, and we can just have a plane so we can get home quicker. But maybe it would be in decent driving distance, or at least a direct flight still from family that's quickly. I'm telling you, I loved where we were in Florida back last month. It was very nice. Nice and bougie for Jay. Water was clear.
We've always joked we would have two houses, one at the beach, one in the mountains.
And then we'd stop in Benson back and forth between the two.
Yeah. And I've always and I don't need a nice mountain home.
No, we're okay with a tiny hut.
Like a tiny hut with some books and a wood burning stove on a river.
The place that we stayed.
Except I want a kitchen. That place didn't have a kitchen. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the outhouse, but I need a kitchen.
The theory of it.
Yeah.
Like less than $50K in installation. That's what that was.
Yeah. Like I don't need anything. Like I got my Kindle. I can have millions of books on there. Good.
Kindle the book reader.
Yeah, the e-reader. No,
he does not worry about having.
I've got my Kindle and I've got my e-reader.
You have your Kendall and your Kindle. So I don't know.
Yeah.
The idea of retirement is still like
12 years away.
Yeah. And so that's a while. And to the idea of just moving somewhere and then staying for more than a couple years, it's kind of a very foreign concept.
Yeah, it's foreign
for me. Like, I get anxiety thinking about if we were to move somewhere and staying there for 4 or 5 years. Like,
I know that.
It seems boring.
Like, I stayed as a lieutenant. I stayed for 4 years. I'll be here probably.
3 years.
Well, I mean, I'm coming up on 3 years.
Yeah.
Probably more like 4 years, depending on what job I get next.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean,
Who knows?
North Carolina will always be home, and we'll always travel back there and have roots there. Of course, you can't take any of that away.
And we'll always have family there. So
and if we just really become bajillionaires, maybe we can buy a tiny little house just to have there. So we're passing through, we have our place. Yeah. But I don't know, because of course now with having Zadie too, there's so much to consider for her, and diversity, and like one of the things we told my parents was like our home church in North Carolina in Benson, and this is the way it is just in Benson in general, like the population is not diverse within the church, and it's not mutually exclusive to our church back home. I mean, it's the thing across the South, though. One of the things you hear is that the most segregated time still in the South is 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. And so you have to go into a more metropolitan area that the population of the church, is young, or, comes from different areas, so they're not so caught up on those things. But I grew up in a church, thankfully, that I always saw women in ministry, like lead from the pulpit, whether that was in ministry, but also in preaching and teaching to the whole congregation. And that's what has given me the fervor and excitement and just the knowledge to know that I can do it. And because I have had those mirrors, and Miss Connie and Miss Millie and Miss Elaine, I want Zadie to have women that look just like her too, that she can say, oh, I can do that if I want to. So that's something to consider. We want her to have those mirrors, not just at school, because I went to Benson, and Benson's a diverse school, but I want it to be diverse, not just at school, but at church and in her social life as well. But 12 years from now, it could be very different. Who knows? Who knows? That's a hard call to make. So,
who knows?
A lot to consider.
We might retire to Arizona.
No, that's not
Mexico.
That is not on the list.
South Dakota?
Not on the list. There's no ocean in any of those places. No. Okay. This is just negative.
Scotland has ocean.
Okay, I can get we can do Europe for sure. We should take a sabbatical.
I don't think you would like.
No, but hear me out.
Okay.
So, you retire, and then we decide we're going to take 2 years.
Yep.
Well, and because I followed you around
for
20 years at that point, I get 2 years, and we're going to live in 4 places I want to live in those 2 years, and do 6 months in each.
And I'm okay with that.
And it'd be like, we can go down to Cape Town and visit my friends and live there for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then we'll go do maybe not even a whole 6 months, or do 6 months going through Asia to different places.
We got to go see She in Taiwan.
Yeah. And then do.
Okay.
And so that'll be 2 years. So we'll do a 6 month Africa tour, and then 6 months Asia, and then do a year of Europe because of all the tiny little countries. We could do a month in each, just about. That would be awesome.
I'm okay with that.
That would be awesome.
That's our retirement plan.
Nailed it. We don't have past. You'll be 40 to that point. I'll be 40. Don't ask us what life looks like after 45, because we have no plans. The Lord does, though, so we'll bank on His. Okay.
I've got to get to 40. I got to get to 42 first.
Yeah, because somebody's trying to keep up with the young bucks over here, and then at night he doesn't know why his knees hurt so bad. So, if you saw the pictures of him carrying the log, that would be one indicative situation. So, here is another kind of deeper thinking one. Since adopting Z and having your eyes really be opened up to racism, what has been the hardest part of dealing with it? And we're going to have very different answers because you haven't gone so much. You've not had to deal with it so much on the.
I haven't had to deal with the direct
face to face.
Yeah, face to face by any means. I guess I'll let you answer because mine's going to go back to like being from such a small town and then going to being thrown into a room at college, and I'll go that far back. Being thrown into a room in college, and I had a very diverse room in college. I had one of my roommates was from Yemen. One of my roommates was from Taiwan. One of my roommates was from Tennessee. One of my roommates was, I believe, Filipino Canadian, and then I had an African American roommate, and I didn't get to pick them. I was just put in that room, and
most diversity you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. I'd never seen anybody in person from the Middle East. We had one Asian family in Johnston or in Four Oaks, where I'm from, and that's it. And so I was thrown in that room, and that really shared hardship grows bonds quickly.
But what's been the question though? Go back to the question, not like your experience with your mind being open to racism.
Yeah.
But like, what has been the hardest thing having Z? I mean, one of the things you mentioned earlier time on TikTok was just like you being aware and knowing that there still are people with very racist tendencies and beliefs, and you were like, I hate to have to kill somebody, and you're saying that jokingly, but like, because I mean, this is your baby, that's your baby girl, and just knowing there are people out there that still say really stupid things,
and there's it's everywhere still. And to me, in my mind, I think that it's segregated to small communities in X, Y, or Z, whether it's in the South or small communities across the country where there's still racism. But that's not the case. I'm dealing with a problem at work of racism, not within my battery, but I'm dealing with problems with racism in the Army. So I mean, it's everywhere, and I guess that has been the forefront with Z, is that I need to protect her from that, but I need to ensure that she understands that, and I don't know how to. As she gets older, it's going to be very difficult for me to explain it to her because I don't have her experiences. I don't have her. I've never had to walk a mile in a person of color's shoes.
You've never walked into a room and been a minority.
Exactly. So it's very difficult. That is probably the hardest part for me, is to empathize with her situation, is because I've never, like Kendall said, I've never been a minority any kind of way. I'm a white Christian male. Like I'm
hetero.
Yeah. I've never been. So trying to empathize and ensure that I am doing what it takes to make the world better for her and protect her, and that's the hardest part for me. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and because you have been gone so much, you haven't had to deal with so much. So Justin's in a very different place with, like, he's just now getting more into like the education, not the education of it, because I mean clearly very aware of it, but the realization, and just the practical, like what do I do and how do I do?
Because like honestly, I don't know how I would react to someone if I was in the grocery store, like today when I had Zadie by myself. We stopped at the grocery store to get something, for example, and someone were to say something
like they have me.
Yeah, like they have to you, like out the way, or racist, or any kind of I don't know how I would respond. Like I don't know how I would respond, and so she's had to deal with that, and I haven't, because I've been gone. So to me, empathizing with her situation, especially being an adopted child of color, a female,
that's why you got to read the books.
Yeah. I have some in my queue.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is for me, because I have dealt with it so much, and because I live a much more public life than you do. I mean, clearly, you know, it's a daily thing that I deal with. I'm confronted with it every day by somebody. You know, whether it's the question of why
Are
did
you taking care of her hair good enough? Or
why did you choose to adopt a black baby? Or this is just another case of a white woman wanting a black trophy baby. And those things, I mean, are hard and they're annoying, honestly, more than anything. The people that are trying to make ugly comments about the fact that our races are different. But what frustrates me more, or what's harder emotionally, is the people in our lives that can't fathom how much different her life will be because she's a different race than us. And it comes down to like the ideology that some people have and kind of use that, well, as long as you love the baby, that's all they need. Well, that's true. A baby does need love, and a love covers a multitude of sins. But I, as a white mother, as a white father, there's just some things we can't do, like empathize, or some things we just can't teach her or have conversations with her about. And so
that's why we have to have a diverse community, a diverse village again.
And so why people wouldn't understand why, like, we wouldn't move home right this minute. You know, why we wouldn't, even if you got stationed at Bragg, and it'd be a fine drive for you to make from Vincent, we would not choose to do that because there's people that love Zadie back home, 150 million%. But the truth is the like, and it's going to sound kind of high and mighty-ish a little bit, or like the like wokeness is just like not there. I mean, what else would you say about it?
No, it's
because people are going to slip up and say things that are not okay, and then expect me to just be nice and like palpable, you know, about it, and I'm not going to. Like, I don't have to. Like, it is exhausting.
And the community as a whole, I think, is definitely on the right track, somewhat. It just takes longer to understand things like that in smaller communities where they're not exposed to, like me, just thrown into the mix.
So I just want to shake people, and that's hard, and be like, it's not okay to say that. Like, it's not okay to act that way. And that's just unfortunate more than anything. And it comes from all sides, and people say things like, well, you only care now because you have a black baby. I mean, that hurts too. I wish I had been more vocal about injustices before, but I can't go back and do anything about that.
Yeah, you're right. Now I probably do care more now that I do have a child of color, but
because it didn't affect you in the same way. Yeah,
but that doesn't make it any less important. Again, if I could go back and change anything in the past, I would. But I've just got to be better now for her, and that's all. That's all my family did. That's all your family did. Like, is to make our lives better. And so our job is to make Zadie Ann's life better where we can.
Yeah.
And so.
And sometimes you have to put the work in. Yeah. And so that's why, because it is something I'm so conscious of. Like, I've been just absorbing a lot of content about it and learning and trying to, because it's reinforced to me daily that this is a thing that I need to be like conscientious of, especially in the world that we live in, and how that affects me. I mean, because I made a statement to my family back home, and people, and this was before like politics had heated up, and I was like, just so you know, if anyone back home supports Trump, you don't have to tell me, like, and I'm not telling you have to change your mind, but I don't want to see any like paraphernalia, because there's people that have Trump flags and t-shirts and everything everywhere, and I just don't want that to be in the background of pictures and her memories when we go home, and then that have to be explained to her 20 years from now when history has painted things a little differently. And so, you know, I mean, a lot of people understand that, and a lot of people don't get it. And so it's just hard and exhausting to have to, you know, try to, the last 18 months worth of work that we've put in to try to boil down to people into a 2-line sentence to make them understand. And it's just not possible.
Yeah.
And which is why I just continue to just delete people off Facebook, because I don't need them pouring into us in that way. Let's see. Oh, well, this goes into right in that. Kendall.
It's a jack. It's just a jack in your camera.
Good waving, hey. Good job, sweet girl. Well, we had Zay's birthday party today. We're just wrapping up this video. We're not answering any more questions. Just want to say hi. Sorry it's taking so long to post.
And sorry
the previous part of this.
Sorry it's cut in half, like she said. The phone just quit recording.
But the questions are still good. There are answers. And we probably wouldn't be able to re-record them again the same way. So we're just going with it.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. Is that okay, Zaddy? Can you get up here with Mommy and Daddy? Not right now.
Okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and I'm still not sure what the bell is.
The bell, you ring the bell, or you press the bell.
What's the difference between subscribing and ring the bell?
Because I'm subscribed to a whole bunch of channels, but I'm only click the bell on like 2. Yours and.
What does the bell do?
So it sends a notification every time you post a video.
Okay. If you really like me, do that. But just at least subscribe, right? I think that would be nice.
And like the videos.
Yeah.
If you like them.
Yeah, that would, preferable.
Whoa.
But thanks for joining. We'll see you in the next one, which I'm going to link somewhere around here. I haven't figured out how to point in the right direction yet, but I did figure out a link.
Oh, nice.
Hey, good wave.
She's just getting the waving down pat.
Yeah, there's been a lot of this for a while, or like down here waves. Good job. So make sure you do all that. Watch this next video somewhere, wherever I figure out to put it, and we're going to answer one more question, but I think it's going to take a little longer. Can you say bye?
Bye, friends.
Say bye, friends.